No quarterback Lamar Jackson. We'll see if he shows up next week for OTAs. This week did feature the rookies getting in the mix. First-round receiver Zay Flowers with return specialist work. Linebackers Trenton Simpson and Tavius Robinson getting to learn from Roquan Smith, another highly paid veteran here for another week. Leadership, their coaches say, is key for the upcoming season.
I mean, it's huge for us, and those are conversations that we've had with Marlon and guys like Roquan, and you know, just encourage them to kind of take the team by the horns and make it their team. And some of the conversations we had last year was, hey, it was great that we hit our stride at some point in the season, but why don't we do that earlier?
The entire Preakness 148 field of 8 horses has arrived at Pimlico. The last one in didn't have a far trip, just from Laurel. That is Coffee with Chris. Coffee with Chris is a Maryland-bred 3-year-old looking to make a name for itself with an upset. Coffee with Chris is the second long shot at 20-1. And Coffee with Chris has raced mostly at Laurel, but does have one start at Old Hilltop. So maybe some home field advantage for the underdog. Trainer John Salzman Jr., whose family is also in the ownership group, has been doing this his entire life. And this is his first Triple Crown race with the Triple Crown contender, a true dream for anyone in this business.
Well, it's very exciting. I mean, I've been doing this my whole life, and to get to this stage is really good. I mean, I'm a long shot here, but we're taking a chance. We're stabled here. We got to ship 20 minutes to get to Pimlico, and we're looking forward to it.
That race at Pimlico for Coffee with Chris was last season when the horse started racing as a 2-year-old, and it was a first-place finish. The colt will come out of the 4-post position right beside favorite Mage and the 3-hole.
All right, and looking ahead to Preakness, we take a look at our computer models. Actually, Friday looking okay. Some extra clouds for Black-Eyed Susan Day, but a nice day overall. Then Saturday, notice rain west, rain east, but not a whole lot overhead. So we're going to be watching it here, but Friday, again, 73 should be dry. Saturday, 77, a stray shower or two, and it becomes sunny again for Sunday after the races are over. Take a look at the Preakness climatology over the past 5 years. Hot one back in 2022, 2021, we're at 80. 2020, it was in October, if you remember, because of COVID, 68 and some sun. We've had a couple of years back in 2019, 2018 with a couple of spot showers, and it's not out of the question that for Preakness this year, there could be a few light showers, but not a rain out. Nice, comfortable temperatures by post time, right around 650 in the low and mid-70s.
Coming up on Fox 45 News at 6, an arrest in the deadly pushing incident at a Baltimore subway station where police tracked down the suspect. And disgraced businesswoman Elizabeth Holmes is back in court. Why she's appealing to stay out of prison for now.
With Shante Jackson on the way out, what's next for Safe Streets? An update on Fox 45's investigation into the city's crime prevention program. We are continuing to follow breaking news. An arrest made in the Baltimore subway murder last month. Just how far the suspect got before being taken into custody. After a 2-month search, Baltimore County's Board of Education has picked a new school superintendent. Coming up, the promises she's making to put the county back on top.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
And good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Bubala. Mayor Brandon Scott's office continuing to be pretty tight-lipped about just who will replace Shante Jackson as the leader of Monzi. Despite demanding answers for a year and a half, Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost explains there are still questions about how the city runs the Safe Streets program.
The outgoing leader of the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement, or Monzi, has been difficult to get answers from.
Director Jackson, can I ask you a couple of questions?
I think the mayor said meet us at the next event.
Are you going to the next event?
Yes.
Okay.
We're not talking about cherry picking numbers. Let's make sure we don't report that, okay?
Okay. Director Jackson, can you explain a little bit more about Roca? When can we learn more about Safe Streets?
Shante Jackson remains committed to the Safe Streets program despite concerns about accountability and transparency.
Monty will invest ARPA dollars in Safe Streets administration for the first time of $5 million.
Fox 45 News has brought to light several Safe Streets workers who had been committing crimes while working for the Violence Intervention Program. Ronald Alexander, seen here in a photo from the federal complaint, wearing a Safe Streets shirt, holding a bag of suspected drugs. Prosecutors say he was using his job with Safe Streets to try and stop investigators from tracking him. Alexander later sentenced to 11 years in federal prison. Or Ricky Evans, pleading guilty for federal racketeering conspiracy, using the Safe Streets location on Monument Street to hold Black Guerrilla Family gang meetings. When it comes to the operations of the program, Fox 45 News learning each location has petty cash available, but how that money is spent can't seem to be determined.
Does the city or the CBOs have the receipts for the petty cash that each location has and how that money is spent?
We'll follow up with you.
The mayor's team never following up with us. Now that Jackson is on her way out, there are pressing questions for Mayor Brandon Scott, so we sent his office a few, asking, since you've been mayor, are you aware of any individuals who have participated in criminal activities during their time working for Safe Streets? Which office do you believe should appoint a special prosecutor to investigate Safe Streets? What are the circumstances that led to Director Jackson's decision to resign? Do you feel an obligation to do an interview with us regarding the activities of Safe Streets? The mayor's team ignoring those questions too. We asked Mayor Scott for an interview back in April.
Will you and Director Jackson agree to do an interview with us to talk about this moving forward and how this $5 million will help grow the Safe Streets locations?
Well, again, I think that what you should think about that is, Mackenzie, well, what are you asking for an interview? Let's get that question very clearly. What do you want to interview us about? The success of Safe Streets?
I would talk about the Safe Streets program, yes. You and Director Jackson.
We'll get back to you and let you know about that.
Why won't you?
I didn't say that we wouldn't. Next question.
Again, the mayor's office not getting back to us. Throughout this entire investigation, there have been trickles of information and pushback from City Hall when we ask for more transparency, leading to this question for the mayor in October of last year.
Mayor Scott, why won't your administration let us see Safe Streets? I just have one follow-up question, though. Is your administration hiding something when it comes to this program?
We're not hiding Safe Streets money because the contracts are all put out in the public.
Fox 45 News eventually getting those contracts only after threatening to sue the city of Baltimore. Meanwhile, the Safe Streets program moving forward with more money and under the supervision of an agency soon to be without its leader. In Baltimore, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Well, as juvenile crime spikes in Baltimore City, those on the front lines are so familiar with the pain and suffering the crisis is causing. Today, Fox 45 News visited shock trauma and spoke with Chief Trauma Surgeon Dr. Thomas Scalea and 2 pediatricians. They say they have seen a spike in juveniles coming through their doors with gunshot wounds this year. In fact, Dr. Scalea almost didn't make his interview with Fox 45's Maxine Stryker today because he was in surgery after a young person came in with stab wounds. He has condemned the violence in the past and says he will not be happy until we get to a place where there's fewer gunshot wounds and a smaller number of people.
Without shock trauma, where would Baltimore be? How much higher would the homicide count be every year?
A lot. Yeah.
More than 100?
Maybe. I mean, we'll see 700 or 800 gunshot wounds this year if the year continues along as it has. 100 is not out of the question.
And how crazy is it to think about that? What if you guys weren't here, you know?
It's, I think about that more than every once in a while, including right now as I think about this young kid that we just finished taking care of.
Well, you can see Maxine's full story tonight at 10.
Breaking news right now. The man accused of pushing a man to his death off a Baltimore subway platform has been arrested. Police say 39-year-old Joseph White, pictured here on the right, was arrested in New York City on charges of first-degree murder. Investigators say White pushed 28-year-old Christopher Foster onto the subway tracks at Shot Tower Station downtown. He was electrocuted by the third rail. White is from Baltimore. He is now awaiting extradition back to Maryland. Police say 2 teens, not even old enough to drive, were found sleeping in a stolen car in Glen Burnie. Anne Arundel County police say stolen property led them to the 14 and 15-year-olds on Appalachian Drive around 3 in the morning. Officers say the teens were sleeping inside of a stolen Hyundai sedan. Those teens are now charged with several offenses, including motor vehicle theft. Mary?
I was here as a first-year teacher, and I remember when Baltimore County Public Schools, we were at the top of the state. It is my intention to work together with you, the community, our staff, all stakeholders, and our students, first and foremost, to get back to the top of the state and the nation. You have my word.
A bold promise from Baltimore County Public Schools' newly appointed superintendent. Dr. Miriam Yarborough is set to step into the role starting on July 1st. Fox 45's Amy Simpson taking a closer look at what challenges she could face as she becomes the leader of the 22nd largest school system in the nation.
After receiving 24 applications from across the country, the Baltimore County School Board ultimately chose an internal candidate. And the next superintendent, she started her career here at Woodlawn High School back in the mid-90s.
Consideration of the appointment of superintendent of schools.
A late addition to the agenda for Tuesday's school board meeting.
May I have a motion to appoint Dr. Miriam A. Yarborough as the superintendent of schools?
Baltimore County's Board of Education tapping current deputy superintendent, Dr. Miriam Yarborough, to be the district's next leader. Amid the much anticipated announcement,
this job won't be easy. There is much work ahead of us.
A reminder of the magnitude of the job.
The needs of Team BCPS, students, staff, and the system are growing, and there are undoubtedly challenges that we face.
Yarborough, a former chemistry teacher, pointing to the need for improvement inside classrooms.
We will improve and accelerate student learning.
As an internal candidate, she knows BCPS, right? She knows the strengths, the weaknesses, everything that's been going on.
President of the Baltimore County Teachers Union was among those who interviewed the 4 finalists for the job.
There's a lot of work to do in Baltimore County schools.
Saying top priorities for the new superintendent must include recruiting and retaining teachers, student discipline, and addressing low test scores.
We know that test scores in Baltimore County are not good, and they have not been for several years. So we need to get that on a different path.
So that teachers can focus on the students.
And they have to all be in place so we can get to the academics and not spend so much time on the behavior and concerns about safety.
I promise you that my commitment is to all of our students in Team BCPS.
And while the board already announced its pick, the deal isn't done just yet. Her appointment still needs to be approved by the state superintendent of schools and her contract finalized before she can officially start July 1st. In Woodlawn, Amy Simpson, Fox 45 News.
Well, before her first day, Dr. Yarborough is already facing legal challenges. As Project Baltimore reported earlier this week, she has been named in a wrongful termination lawsuit. The lawsuit was filed by Sharia Anderson, the former chief human resources officer. She claims the school system engaged in unlawful acts when her employment was terminated this past December. She says the termination came after a series of disagreements with school system leaders. Before last night's announcement, we spoke with a former school board member who said the board should consider this lawsuit before finalizing the appointment.
Well, what happens if you end up with a superintendent who was considered to be somehow at fault for a wrongful termination? If you have somebody that actually really did wrongfully terminate someone, how's that going to affect the morale of the staff? And are we going to lose a whole bunch of staff?
Anderson is seeking a jury trial along with compensatory and punitive damages. BCPS declined to comment when questioned by our Project Baltimore team. An Illinois girl missing for 6 years found in North Carolina. Coming up, how a Netflix show helped lead to her discovery. The impact of Title 42 ending is starting to be seen. The struggles cities across the U.S. are facing to keep up with the influx.
And the baseball forecast for tonight. If you're going out to Camden Yards, see the O's take on the LA Angels one more time. You might even need a light jacket by the end of the game. Temperatures fall from the 60s into the 50s. Clear skies, but it may not be so clear by the time Preakness arrives. I'm going to have that forecast day by day, hour by hour. My Weather Authority forecast.
Taking a look now at the Fox Quad Box. Top left, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle allegedly pursued by paparazzi last night in New York City. The accusations evoked memories of Harry's mother, Princess Diana's death. New York police have released a statement, however, saying there were no collisions, arrests, nor injuries reported. Top right, the suspect in the killing of 4 University of Idaho students has been indicted on murder and burglary charges. If found guilty, Brian Kohberger could face the death penalty. He is scheduled to be arraigned next week. Bottom left, an Illinois girl whose disappearance was featured on Netflix's Unsolved Mysteries has been found alive in North Carolina. Police say a clothing store owner in Asheville recognized 15-year-old Kayla from the show. Kayla was just 9 when she went missing in 2017. Her mother has been arrested on child abduction charges. Well, bottom right, a request has been made by disgraced Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes to stay out of prison. It has been denied. In her appeal, she said she needed to remain at home while she tries to overturn her multiple convictions. She was found guilty of defrauding investors by claiming she invented a revolutionary blood testing machine. She's expected to report to prison later this month.
Fox Triplecast this evening looks great. The Toyota Inner Harbor Skycam, a little hazy, but sunshine. And then, of course, you can see the Inner Harbor Skycam followed up by the Mile 1 Tasicam with a little bit of hazy sunshine there as well. And the HD radar is clean and clear. Our latest weather maker, fair weather high pressure, that's giving us these beautiful skies. Toyota Inner Harbor Skycam clear, 70, winds out of the north-northeast at 9 miles an hour. Desertified air, we'll say, with the humidity only at 28% and the dew point nice and dry at 35 degrees. So this air likes to warm up during the day. That's why we had a high of 72. It also likes to really chill down at night, and that's why we have frost advisories in effect for Carroll County, northern Baltimore County, and northwestern Hartford County tonight. So tender plants either have to go inside or have to be covered over. Temperature at 68 right now, where that frost could be setting in later on tonight. At Westminster, 70 here in Baltimore. We're at 66, up 95 to Bel Air. Annapolis down 97. We're at 69. Eastern Shore in the upper 60s, and out west of the city, we're right near 70. All these temperatures are about 5 to 10 degrees colder than they were just 24 hours ago when we had highs of 82 yesterday. This is all part and parcel of a cold front that has gone down to our south, allowing in some of this cool air from the north. Temperatures only in the 50s right now. Cleveland to Scranton, Pennsylvania, up to Boston. Low and mid 50s right now. We're at 70 here in Baltimore. You can see where that front has gone. It's way down there on the Gulf Coast, actually kind of over the central portion of the southeast right now with showers and storms all the way down to the Gulf Coast. And then you have to go thousands of miles west to get to any rain west of Omaha into the Intermountain West. So we've got a little time until we see any rain around here again. The warmth from yesterday locked down to the south of that cold front. Otherwise, sunshine, nice. There's that weather maker. Fair weather high pressure out of Canada, giving us that nice weather, not only for the remainder of today, but into tonight, tomorrow. Still on the cool side for this time of year with sun. But notice this moisture pooling again to the south and west by Friday. That adds in some clouds for Black-Eyed Susan Day and maybe a shower chance as we head now into Preakness Saturday. So the future scan overnight, follow the clock hour by hour, 10 p.m. 56 here in Baltimore, will be at 54 at Cockeysville. There are those cold numbers by early morning at 6 a.m. We've got a 40 at Westminster. Some of those outlying areas could be in the mid to upper 30s. 43 here in Baltimore, about 50 at Annapolis to begin. 8 a.m. temperatures go back through the 40s and into the 50s. And probably going to be back into the 60s to near 70 for tomorrow afternoon. 2:30, 67 Baltimore, 66 at Cockeysville. Another outdoor lunch type of day. And temperatures at about 5 p.m. in the 60s to near 70. So for tonight, 40 degrees, clear skies. Could see some patchy frost north and west. Again, Baltimore County, the northern half of the county, as well as northwestern Hartford County and Carroll County, all under frost advisories. Otherwise, it'll be chilly. For tomorrow, 70, still a tad below average. Should be at about 75 for this time of year. We'll call it pleasant sun. Overall, a nice day. I've got your Preakness forecast as well as Black-Eyed Susan Day forecast and beyond. My exclusive 10-day forecast coming up in just minutes.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
An impressive thunderstorm rolls through northern Alabama on Tuesday. While not far away, another cloud unleashes a summer-like soaker. Yes, that is rain you see falling from the cloud. Smoke from those wildfires in western Canada is still visible in many parts of the U.S. And check out this dust devil that started spinning along the Riverwalk in Conway, South Carolina.
Want to see your weather photos and videos on TV? Click Chime In on this station's website to share.
If I can save one person, then I've done something.
Turning action or loss into action. Coming up, how 3 moms are using their stories to prevent fentanyl poisonings. Well, no one knows the urgency of addressing the fentanyl crisis better than the families who have lost a child to the drug. 3 mothers in Seattle are now trying to help other families avoid the same tragedy. Joel Moreno from our Sinclair sister station shares how the mothers are turning their grief into action.
One loved the outdoors, his friends and family. Another played basketball and was an avid skateboarder and snowboarder. A third played drums and lacrosse, and all 3 are dead from fentanyl.
I was really confused because I'm like, first of all, overdose. My kid doesn't do drugs.
It was a total shock to our family.
But I knew I had to get the word out there. I had to let people know.
Now the mothers of these young men are sharing a warning they didn't hear in time.
It took me probably at least a couple years to pick myself up off the floor and try to turn this into something where I could help save lives.
The circumstances were different, but all 3 of their children thought they were taking Percocet, but the pills were counterfeit. It's a message these moms are taking to schools and the streets.
And I think that's what I try to get across to the kids is you do not know what is in any of these drugs.
Fortunately, with the other moms, we're able to make an impact in the schools, I believe.
But these moms say not enough families are hearing these warnings, and the overdose crisis is just getting worse.
I really think that we need a statewide mandated public awareness campaign.
What would you say to parents who would tell you, my kid's not an addict, this wouldn't happen to us?
Don't be me. I literally was that parent.
These moms urge parents to talk to their own kids about fentanyl on a regular basis before this drug snatches another life away.
If I can save one person, then I've done something.
All right, your exclusive 10-day forecast. Pleasant sunshine for Thursday, high near 70 after a frosty start for some well north and west, so make sure those tender plants are protected. On our Friday, Black-Eyed Susan Day, big weekend coming, 73. Slim chance of some light showers, it appears, on Saturday. For Preakness, 77 becomes sunny again with 77 into Sunday. Early next week, near 80 degrees, dry, and actually it looks like it remains dry all the way through the end of next week. Maybe some showers by next weekend, but low to mid-80s.
They did it! An iconic moment of achievement today for students at the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis. First year